Hello everyone, it's Mr. Wyman. I'm going to be sharing with you a riddle today. What is a riddle? What's another word for riddle? Well, a riddle is like a mystery. It's something where you're trying to figure it out. A problem, and it's your job to solve it, to figure out the solution. This is a polite pirate story. Rahim had only been sailing with Captain Irony for a little while when he heard the captain tell a riddling tale about a confused traveler. Being new to world travel himself, Rahim's ears, or whatever it is, a sort of dinosaur reptilian thing such as Rahim hears with, were pricked. Well, not literally, of course. That is figurative language there. Rahim's hearing was startled into action, as though it were stuck with something sharp. Okay, maybe I should let Rahim tell the story. Captain Irony's throat clearing was like an ornery wave clapping the side of the wooden ship, sending sparkling droplets of water in all directions before slinking back down into its home. None of the sailors distinctly heard it, but all knew and respected it. Just as a sail naturally catches the wind when it is lowered, the captain's sparkling black eyes commanded the attention of every person within earshot, and others moved closer. Although scarce, and perhaps because of this very fact, Captain Irony's stories were as valuable as a container of water on the open ocean. Choosing his words with care, the captain began. There is a place in Paris, France. The captain always spoke with an appropriate accent to demonstrate his vast expertise, where the houses are not so close together, and each is painted a wonderful color. A friend, just as the captain to everyone. Everyone was the captain's friend. Once visited this neighborhood with a parcel to deliver to an address. The delivery notice had nothing more written on it than the greenhouse, and then the name of the neighborhood. It was hours before this person, not native to Paris, finally asked a local inhabitant, "Wouldn't you know, our delivery person felt rather silly when he realized he was speaking with the very person to whom the package was to be given." Without skipping a beat, the captain concluded, "Why did our hero," and nearly everyone in the captain's stories either is or becomes a hero at some point, "have such a trying time locating the greenhouse? And he didn't recognize it even on its doorstep." Okay, that's the question. That's the riddle that Captain Irony is presenting to his sailors. Let's see what happens next. It took a mere minute for the captain to deliver his riddle, whether he knew it would take the crew a while to figure out, or he wanted everyone to think about it for a time before he received an answer. The captain withdrew to his cabin. As the wind filled the sails and the ship surged forward, minds mused and workers wondered. Now, however, in addition to monotonous tying of knots and the untangling of rigging, the crew had a riddle to unravel. Will they do it? Will they figure it out? Let's see. Perhaps, dear reader, you have heard this one before, but sailors on a pirating vessel would not know that there are more uses of a word like green than the obvious, a color. In other words, it's a homonym. It's a word that means more than one thing. Unfamiliar with the idiom going green, they were more careful to conserve their energy than the greeniest conservationists today. So Rahim is actually giving a few examples of the word green and how it can be used. With plants growing healthy all over the ship, every sailor and the parrot had a green thumb, whether they knew it or not. And although seasoned sailors, it was still possible during a harsh storm for any one of them to go green over the side of the ship. What do you think, then? No one was green with envy over that poor soul. So here's a whole bunch of different uses of the word green. If you looked up that word in the dictionary, it would have many entries or definitions. Figuring out the answer to Captain Irony's riddle seemed bleak. The crew was not green at puzzling over mental mazes, but the answer to this one eluded it. Each member mused over every word the captain had uttered. Their thoughts rumbled like thunder in their minds. The dinner bell clapped like lightning. During dinner, the even quieter than usual captain stopped eating and looked up. Every chewing mouth discontinued its activity. Have I ever told you about the time the American president who resides in the White House gave me the green light to harbor my ship wherever I pleased along the Atlantic coast? What is Captain Irony getting at? This, of course, was a rhetorical question, not to be answered, but added to the crew's quandary. The parrot pecked at a pea. A sailor speared a green bean. Zeus, the chef, streaked across the mess room with a bowl of salad. Suddenly, we could say greens, actually. Suddenly, Sharon stood up. She still had salad in the corner of her mouth. Excuse me, Captain, but did you say the president gave you a green light? I did. Captain Irony was not one for volunteering more information than necessary. The crew could see Sharon was collecting her thoughts as she pushed the salad greens into her mouth. He did not actually hand you a light that was green, did he? I think Sharon is starting to figure out the difference between figurative language and literal language. Rather than say a word audibly, the captain communicated his answer by lowering his eyelids ever so slightly. Though subtle, the entire crew noticed. Sharon continued, "The American president did not give you a light at all." She was thinking out loud now, and her mates were right there with her. "A green light means go," one sailor suggested. The phrase could stand for "go ahead" or "yes, you may." "He lives in a White House," another piped in. "The American president lives in the White House." He remembered with additional accuracy, because remember, this is how Captain Irony said the name of the place. Sharon refused to get lost in the cerebral shuffle. "It is not just a White House," she shouted. "That is its name." The table buzzed with excitement. Everyone could feel the burden of problem-solving evaporating. The greenhouse in the riddle was a place of plants, not a house painted green, made of grass to allow sunlight to feed and fuel its inhabitants. Anyone familiar with greenhouses would have recognized it immediately as the address to which the delivery person ought to have left his parcel. Sharon was the hero, but everyone felt heroic, having helped her draw her conclusions. So she figured it out. The greenhouse wasn't a house painted green. It was actually a place named the greenhouse. And that's the end of the riddle. So, there were lots of vocabulary words in there that I want us to explore and understand how they're used. There's also quite a lot of figurative language that we can explore and enjoy within this tale. I hope you liked it, and I hope you got a lot out of it. Green is a homonym. It's a graph because it's spelled exactly the same way, but it means many, many different things.